you think this is? Come on, white motherfucking trash.
This is my world, now I'm without you.
Hey yo, my man's on his way. 3 for 50, blue skies ahead. Are you with me? Crush the pill, roll a bill and sniff it. Rainbow sunshine, the kid is lifted. Painkiller paradise, Staten Island. 20 pill a day habit, cats are wildin'. 30 milligrams, serve 'em in my hand. Gonna cruise, no this ain't jazz, I got the blues. Federal charge, listen, I'm a bluehead, Marge Simpson. What the fuck was y'all thinking? My favorite shit, the nasal drip. Next I puff a Newport, that's the ritual. Feel invincible, you can't stop me. Drug dealers got me and the fucking cops watch me. Only one chick in my life, her name is Roxy.
My world is blue. Blue is my world, now I'm without you. Blue, my world is blue. Blue is my world, now I'm without you.
Yo, I can stop when I want to, I'm not addicted. I don't take pills, crush and sniff it. Blue is my world in this life, how I live it. Come out to Staten Island, pay a little visit. 1 out of every 3 kids probably got them. And if the cops come, I just pop them. 3 the minimum, it's hard to...
Alright, this is Mr. Leon Stewart, a pharmacist for how many years now?
Be 50 years this January.
50 years. Mrs. Stewart, as a pharmacist, your first question would be drugs on this island, Staten Island. On the island, what is the biggest leading problem, in your opinion, for young teens and adults to use and abuse said drugs?
Well, I think peer pressure is one of the reasons young people take drugs. They take them to get high. They like to try them out. When you're a young teenager, you think you're invincible. And some of these things are very powerful, make you feel very good, and some of the young people might be depressed for whatever reason, and they eventually get hooked on them, just like people get hooked on cigarettes. Doesn't take too long to get hooked on cigarettes. Maybe smoke them a month, and you're hooked on it. Well, if you take prescription drugs like oxycodone, it's not going to take more than a month for you to get hooked on that. And heroin, probably a lot quicker.
Now, prices of these said drugs, as let's just say oxycodone, how much it would be like for 1 bottle compared to the smaller illegal heroin? Why is there such a price gap?
Well, I think the street heroin isn't that expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people are getting it. The oxycodone is not that expensive. The generic, not the brand. It's not that expensive. But I think a lot of the people today, what they do, they'll get 180 or 240 for a month from a doctor, and they'll take half of them and they'll sell the rest of them for I'm not sure about this, but I would think anywhere from 25 to 50 bucks a piece for a pill on the street. So you know, so they can afford to keep buying this stuff because they're making money on it.
The restrictions, such as the governments and state and cities put on for oxycodone and all these other class 2 narcotics, like eScript. What exactly does eScript do?
eScript? That's
Like
electronically
eScript,
controlled prescription. And in New York State, it's in New York State, I think next March, you will not be able to get any prescriptions without electronically transmitting them to a pharmacy. Right now, I think it's the State Board of Pharmacy has issued numbers for certain doctors, and they have to write that number on a written prescription. So they can do that this year. By next March, nobody can do it. Everything has to be electronically transmitted. And they're doing this with all prescriptions, narcotics and regular prescriptions, to prevent mistakes and for various other reasons.
My day-to-day life wasn't like the average child's day-to-day life. We lived in a smaller house, so I could really never have friends over. We weren't the most wealthy family, if not the most poor family, so the luxuries that kids had, like PlayStations and stuff, I didn't get until I moved out of my situation. So, not normal, I would put it as. Awkward. I thought it was, punishment for something that I did, to stay in a room and be quiet until, further notice. But now, I notice that, and, I should have noticed it then, but then I was 8 years old, now 20 years old, thinking back at it. They were probably either doing the drugs then, or buying them, or selling them, something to that extent. I've recently learned that one of my good friends has experienced with a drug called heroin, but I would never go near that because my nana would always threaten me if I went near drugs or even cigarettes. She would break my hands and go up until my both arms are broken. So, yeah.
Who's Nana?
That would be my grandmother. She passed away my junior year of high school. So, but she did raise me since I was 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. She was basically my mother. She explained right from wrong, left from right. So, there's that. Yeah.
Do you have a relationship with your parents today?
Today, no, I do not. I don't plan on either.
I think one of the big problems in the entire country, not only in New York State, is that when people get addicted to substances, a lot of them are committing crimes to get the drugs. They get thrown in jail. That's not going to help. If they're in jail for 6 months or a year, whatever it is, it's not going to help, because when they come out, they just take the medication again. Somehow they get the money, and it's like a vicious cycle. And what needs to be done, I know it's probably expensive, what needs to be done, people need to be put away for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it takes. Many young people get addicted, and when they get out, they haven't been through high school. They can't get good jobs. They don't feel good about themselves, so they go back to the drugs because the drugs make them feel better. So, certain people that become addicted in their 30s and 40s that have college degrees, it's a bit easier for them to get off the drugs because they've dealt with all of their problems without drugs. But when you're a teenager and you get addicted, you haven't dealt with all your problems without drugs. Maybe some minor problems when you're young. So this is just a little something I want to add, which... So what do? It's expensive to send somebody away for, say, a year, but you can rehabilitate somebody then. You could teach them a trade. So when they get out, they won't be feeling so bad about themselves.